Good evening, Rabotai. V'teskulu shanim rabot, ne'imot v'tovot. It is a distinct privilege to speak for a well-known organization that's very dear to me. I know it up close. After I met with some of the founders and spoke at a recent dinner that they had, the Emet organization is doing a tremendous work, bringing Torah to the people, to all people, bringing all levels of Torah as well, and bringing people back closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They're doing a great job. The success speaks for itself. I don't think there's anything better that we could do before Shavuot than give money and support and tzedakah in order to support the promotion of Torah. There's two ways we can respect the Torah. We could learn it, which we'll do right now, but we could also support it. If you have something that is good, you like to share it with others. If you know how to share it yourself, then by all means. But Emet is a good agent that's going around the community and sharing the sweetness of the Torah, the beauty of it, and it's really turning people's lives around. So congratulations to all the hard work that they're doing, to all the rabbis, the teachers, the volunteers, and tonight to all the supporters. It's money well spent. And I have no doubt that the pasuk says, "Utzedakah tatzil mimavet," tzedakah saves people from decrees and from all sorts of things, and all the more so the money that will go to support Emet, whether it's tonight, during this campaign, or any time, it's the highest level of tzedakah. B'talmud Torah keneged kulam. And now, in honor of my good friends at Emet, I'd like to say a Devrei Torah. It's actually a question that I was thinking about over the past couple of days, and I'd like to offer an answer. What I'm saying, I believe, is a chidush. The question that I had is that we always learn that Matan Torah is a wedding ceremony. As a matter of fact, a lot of the customs that we have at wedding ceremonies are learned from the procedures that took place at Har Sinai. We have a chuppah at a wedding. That's the mountain that God hung over our heads that served as a chuppah. And there was also 3 days before we were invited. We were invited to come to Har Sinai. That's called hazmanah. That's why we send out wedding invitations. There's many examples. There was flowers at Har Sinai. That's why at our weddings we put flowers. It's the ultimate wedding between HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is the Hatan, the groom, and Bnei Israel, who are considered the bride. My question is, why the delay? The Jewish people come out of Mitzrayim in the first month, Chodesh Nisan. It's not like God needs to prepare. The Hatan is ready. God could do anything. He doesn't need to take time to prepare a wedding place or location or a ceremony. Why didn't he just bring Bnei Israel instantaneously to Har Sinai, and they should get married the day after they come out of Egypt? I mean, especially if we believe that God loves the Jewish people so much, and we believe that the Hatan can't wait to marry the bride. But in this case, Borei Olam was very patient. He actually didn't marry Bnei Israel at Matan Torah until the third month, Chodesh Shlishi. And the question is, why the delay? I mean, let's look at when Yitzhak Avinu, they sent Eliezer to go find a wife. It says he made it to Laban's house the same day that he left. And then he made it back the same day. The whole thing was done with what we call kefitzat derech. Everything was done with speed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sped the process up to get Yitzhak married. So when it comes to his wedding, he doesn't know how to speed it up. On the contrary, it takes a month and a half, 50 days. Why the delay, Rabotai? B'rshut Kahal Kadosh, I'd like to ask another question, which also should bother all of us. In the Kiddush that we're going to say on the night of Shavuot, we're going to say, Zeman Matan Toratenu, the time of the receiving of the Torah. I don't have a problem with that. Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim, to remember the leaving and the exodus of Egypt. And I ask you, what does Shavuot have to do with Yitziat Mitzrayim? I understand Pesach. Pesach is the holiday where we celebrate the Exodus. Pesach is definitely Zecher Yitziat Mitzrayim. But Shavuot? Shavuot was a month and a half later. Mitzrayim already was behind us. Why do we make a point to say, Zeman Matan Toratenu Zecher Yitziat Mitzrayim? This is the question. Well, in previous years, we explained as follows. Although I'm not coming to give this answer, I just want to let you know what we said in previous years, and then we'll say the novel answer for in honor of the good people at Emet. In previous years, we said that the Jewish people left Mitzrayim. That was considered a physical redemption. They were free. Their bodies were free. However, free to do what? Just to give a slave freedom from his master, but not to give him a new discipline or a new job or a new purpose, a tachlit, a goal, an objective. So that's freedom from, but it does not give him something to occupy his time to do something, to reach a goal. As a matter of fact, if the Jewish people just left Egypt and all it would have been was a physical redemption, it would have been a disaster. There would be nothing worth celebrating, because you'd have a bunch of people that left Mitzrayim. It's very nice. And now what? Running in the Midbar, no schedule, no objective, no directives. It would lead to chaos. It would lead to anarchy. Like, God forbid, when you see people that are let out of the prisons. Once they're let out of jail, they just go revert to crime because they have nothing to do all day long. So therefore, Borei Olam said there's going to be a part 2 of Yetziat Mitzrayim. The part 2 of Yetziat Mitzrayim is Matan Torah. That's when you receive freedom of the soul. That's when your souls will be free in order to now receive a doctrine in order to serve God. Instead of occupying your time like you did for 200 years building buildings on quicksand, now you'll occupy your time doing things that will lead you to eternity. So we might say like this, Pesach and Shavuot are actually 2 bookends of the same holiday. Both are holidays celebrating Herut, freedom. One is freedom from, and the second is freedom to. Freedom from slavery, and then freedom to serve. That would be a simple explanation what the connection between Shavuot is and Mitzrayim. That the Exodus ends on Shavuot. I might point out to you that if you look at the 4 languages of Geulah, we have Vehotzeti, Vitzalti, Vega'alti, Velakachti. Now Vehotzeti is I took you out of Egypt from the physical slavery. Vitzalti, I saved you from the troubles. Vega'alti, I redeemed you. You left. What could be after Vega'alti? Vega'alti means we left. Mitzrayim Ga'altanu. What's after Vega'alti? The pasuk says Velakachti. That means the 4th stage of Geulah is Velakachti. I took you as a nation at Har Sinai. So therefore, the first 3 leshonot, Vehotzeti, Vitzalti, Vega'alti, refer to the physical redemption. But Velakachti, which is number 4, represents the spiritual redemption, which took place at Har Sinai. Herut Gufani, Herut Nafshi. So there's definitely a connection between Pesach and Shavuot. As a matter of fact, the Ramban writes that Shavuot is called Atzeret. Why is it called Atzeret? Well, Atzeret means in Hebrew to stop. Atzor. Don't work. But we have another holiday that's called Atzeret, that's Shemini Atzeret. You have 7 days of Sukkot. The 8th day is called Atzeret. The Ramban says that you have 7 days of Pesach. The 8th day of Pesach is Shavuot. It's called Atzeret. And he says that all the days in between Pesach and Shavuot, which is the days of the Omer, which we're in now, is like one big Chol HaMoed. So that means the last day of Pesach is really Shavuot, which really means they're the same holiday. It's just that the first holiday is celebrating V'hotzeti, V'tzalti, V'ga'alti. Shavuot is the final, is the cherry on the cake. That already is V'lakachti, that I brought you as a nation. Now you can fill your time with productive work, not with buildings in quicksand and you have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. Now God gave us the mitzvot, the Torah, what we call Hayy Olam. He gave us a piece of eternity. And now we were finally free. Keep in mind, not free to do what we want to do, but free what we were made to do. A person is only free when he lives according to his purpose, when he's doing what he was made to do. Not what he does, what he wants to do. That's not freedom. That's actually a form of slavery. Anyway, that's the answer that we gave in previous years, but I needed to tell it to you. But now I want to go a step further and give another explanation. We know that when a wedding is planned, so even if the Hatan loves the bride and the bride wants to get married as quick as possible, they cannot get married till at least 7 days pass. Minimum, the fastest wedding. If you tell a lady, I want to marry you today, you have to wait at least 7 days. Why? Because we know the laws of Tarat HaMishpacha. The lady needs 7 days to purify herself. On the 7th night, she'll go to the mikveh, and now she's pure. A kala cannot stand under the chuppah until she's pure. Says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. He says the Jewish people were in Mitzrayim. He says Mitzrayim was filled with a very, very toxic culture. There was a terrible lifestyle. The Torah calls that lifestyle abominable. And we lived with these people, with that culture and lifestyle, for over 200 years. Now, just through osmosis, just by living with these people and absorbing all the contamination and all the ideology, and all the philosophy and all the ways, it definitely enters the body and it enters the brain. There has to be a certain period where you detox, where you're able to rid yourself from the tum'ah of Mitzrayim. And the Rabbi called Or HaChaim HaKadosh says, on the pasuk, B'chodesh HaShelishi, Letzet B'nei Yisrael Me'eretz Mitzrayim, the 3rd month, for when the Jews came out of Mitzrayim, Vayom Hazeh, on that day, Ba'u the Midbar Sinai. That day they came to Har Sinai. So the Or HaChaim HaKadosh says, B'chodesh HaShelishi, why in the 3rd month? Why didn't God marry us right away? So he says, you know why? B'chodesh HaShelishi, you know we had to wait to the 3rd month? Because Letzet B'nei Yisrael Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Because look where we were coming from. The bride needed time to purify herself. Not in a physical way. In a spiritual way, B'nei Yisrael was filled with Tum'at Mitzrayim. And says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, for Tumat Mitzrayim, 7 days is not enough. You need 7 weeks. For every day that a regular bride needs, Bnei Yisrael, which is the universal bride, they need 1 week per day. And therefore God says, I would marry you today, but you're not ready. You didn't go to the mikveh yet. Klal Yisrael still had the traces of Tumat Mitzrayim in them. And therefore God says, purge yourself. And after you purge yourself, and it's going to take time. And therefore God says the wedding will be not delayed. I'm going to marry you the first moment possible. Once already you're able to clean yourself, I'll marry you the next day. And sure he did. After 49 days, which is 7 weeks, on day 50, Bnei Yisrael was already prepared to stand under the chuppah. But you cannot have a girl stand under the chuppah. She doesn't have a wedding gown. She doesn't have her hair. She didn't do her makeup. Bnei Yisrael needed to prepare the spiritual preparations. And therefore, we explained that if you look at the language, whenever we talk about leaving Egypt, we say Yitziat Mitzrayim. Yitziat Mitzrayim. The Satmar Rebbe said, Yitziat Mitzrayim, it should be Yitziat Mim Mitzrayim. After we came from Egypt. What does it mean, Yitziat Mitzrayim? So the Rab said something beautiful. He said there's two things that we have to accomplish. Number one, we geographically have to leave the country, Mitzrayim. But then there's another Mitzrayim. That's the trace of Mitzrayim that's in us. And the goal of the Jews was to make Yitziat Mitzrayim, to remove Mitzrayim that is within. That's the ideology. That's the culture. That's the way. That's the influence that we picked up. So therefore there's two levels here. On Pesach, the objective was to leave Mitzrayim. That the Jew should leave Mitzrayim. And on Shavuot, the goal was that Mitzrayim should leave the Jew. And we needed 49 days, like a lady going to the mikveh. And at that point, we were prepared to receive the Torah. Well, if that's the case, I'd like to explain a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. The Mishnah says, Hillel Omer, Im en ani li, mili. What does it mean? Im en ani li, if I'm not going to be for myself, who is going to be for me? Hillel reminds us, you have responsibilities as a Jew. You have obligations. You have mitzvot. God sent you down from the upper worlds to this world for a goal that can only be accomplished in this world, and then when it's over, whatever you have collected, that's what you have for eternity. So Hillel reminds us and charges us, if I'm not going to be responsible for myself, who is going to be for me? The simple explanation of the Mishnah is, you cannot delegate your religious behavior to somebody else. You cannot hire somebody or an agent to do mitzvot for you, and when you sit back and do as you please. No, im en anili, if I'm not going to be for myself, who is going to be for me? Mitzvot cannot be done through agencies. We once explained a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot at the end. There was a rabbi called Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma. It says one time he was walking on the road, and he says he met a person, and the man told him, Shalom, Rabbi, and he answered him back, Shalom to you. And he asked Rabbi Yosef, he said, Rabbi, where do you come from? He said, I come from a city of scholars. Ir shel hachamim v'sofrim. So he said, Rabbi, Ritzoncha shetadur imanu b'mkomenu. Will it be your wish to come live with us in our place? And I will pay you thousands and thousands of gold coins and precious gems and pearls. This is a rabbi's dream. Here you have Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma learning all his life, and now he's offered to come to a new community. He's offered a ton of money. And what is his answer? We would expect at least him to say, let me think about it. The real answer he should say is, I'll take the job. Where do I sign? Instead, what is the answer? Even if you give me all the money in the world, I will only live in a place of Torah. And my question was, what do you mean? Go make it a place of Torah. Isn't that the job of a rabbi? Why did you refuse? They have money. They have wherewithal. They must have the know-how. They'll hire you. You'll bring 20 rabbis, make a kollel. You'll end up bringing the people back to Teshuvah. Why did he flatly refuse? I think it's because he heard something in the offer. If you listen closely, the way they hired him, they asked him, Rabbi, Ritzoncha shetadur imanu. Rabbi, do you want to live with us? But look at the next word, bimkomenu. Bimkomenu could mean in our place. Well, it's obvious. If you're going to come live with us, you're going to be in our place. What they were saying is, we want you to live with us, but bimkomenu, instead of us. You will be bimkomenu. You will take our religious place. We don't want to do anything, but we'll hire you, we'll pay you, you'll keep Shabbat for us, You'll keep kashrut for us. You'll keep tarat mishpacha for us. We're looking for a proxy. We're looking for an agent. We're looking for a shaliyah. We're looking for somebody to do the religion bimkomenu instead of us. The rabbi heard that. He said, I'm not interested. Hillel said, Im en ani li mili. If I'm not going to be for myself, then who's going to be for me? Well, I'd like to say a novel explanation tonight based on what we're learning. The goal of the 7 weeks, which we're in now, was to prepare ourselves to remove the Mitzrayim from within us. I will argue, Shavuot is a very important holiday, but it's only one day. In Israel, in Galut, it's only 2 days. It's a short holiday. But I will argue it's the longest holiday because it has a 49-day preparation. The key of Shavuot is these days that we're in now. The removing the Mitzrayim from within us. Now, I understand. You say, Rabbi, we're not in Mitzrayim. Well, we might be in a worse place. The Tumat of America and the thinking and the liberalism and the ideology, not any better. And we're living here for many years as well. And therefore, as we come to Har Sinai to stand in front of the Hatan, and we do this every year, it's every year is another wedding ceremony with new Jews that stand in front of God and accept the conditions of the chuppah. But Borei Olam says you must prepare. You cannot come to Matan Torah with the America inside of you. Therefore, you need 50 days or 49 days to prepare. So Hillel says, Im en anili. If I'm not going to be for myself and prepare myself, me is Mem Yud. Mem Yud is 50. Me li, what's going to be on the 50th day? If I am not going to prepare myself mentally to remove myself away from Tumat Mitzrayim, me li, what's going to be on day 50? Rabotai, we get to Har Sinai, and the Torah tells us Har Sinai has another name. It's not so well known, but I will tell it to you. The name is Har Horev, Mount Horev. Maybe some of you saw Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch has a book explaining the Torah, and the book is called Horev. After that mountain, the mountain where we received the Torah. Horev literally means Churban. Churban means a destruction. Mount Destruction? Why would God call that mountain Har Horev? I'd like to explain this to you. You see, the Gemara in Sukkah tells us what it's going to look like on the day that Mashiach comes. It actually gives us the schedule. What we're going to do in the morning, there's going to be a big Seudah. Well, it has to be. We're going to have a big buffet breakfast. We're going to have special fish from the Leviathan, special meat from Shor Haba, special wine from the times of Adam Arishon. It's going to be a buffet, beautiful breakfast. After breakfast, God is going to call the Yetzer Hara, and the Yetzer Hara is going to attend. Now, don't get nervous. He's not going to speak. He's not the guest speaker at that event. By no means. This event is going to be attended by all the tzaddikim, and hopefully will be included. So what is the Yetzer Hara going to do there? It says God's going to take a knife, and once and for all, he's going to slaughter the Yetzer Hara. Bila hamavet lanetzach. The Malach HaMavet, the Yetzer Hara, is going to be destroyed once and for all, forever. And the Gemara says that tzaddikim are going to look at the Yetzer Hara, and it's going to appear to them like a mountain. And they're going to start to cry. And they're going to say to themselves, how did we overcome such a mountain? They're going to feel joy, a feeling of accomplishment. How did we overtake this mountain? That's the Yetzer Hara. Borei Olam then is going to come along, like we say in Pesach, Ve'atah HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ve'shahat le'malach hamavet. It's going to make shahita on him. This Yetzer Hara we all have. Now everybody's talking about viruses. The big virus that everybody's trying to defend themselves for. Do you know if you would go to a pharmacy and you'd ask the pharmacist and you'd say, I'm looking for a vaccine for the coronavirus. They'll tell you, sorry, there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. We can give you something that might slow it down, that might make you feel good, but this is a virus that is incurable at this point. Now, if you went to the same pharmacist and you said, well, I need a prescription for something else, for the Yetzer Hara, they said, oh, that we have a cure for that. Could you believe it? For coronavirus, there's no cure, but for the Yetzer Hara, which is much more deadly, because the Yetzer Hara, he could take you away not only from this world, but from the next world as well. The virus called Yetzer Hara is an eternal virus. When the person gets stung or bit by the Yetzer Hara, that sickness lasts forever. Well, you go to the pharmacy, they'll tell you, oh, there's a cure for that. Who invented it? Well, the same one that invented the Yetzer Hara created the antidote. God says, Barati Yetzer Hara, Barati Torah Tevalim. The study of Torah, Torah learning, that is the antidote. When you learn Torah, something happens. The Yetzer Hara starts to diminish. The Yetzer Hara starts to dissipate. It starts to go away. And it's the only solution. You know, the good people at Emet, the students have to realize what they're doing for them, what the organization is doing. By teaching the students Torah, you're not only giving them information, you're not only giving them brain knowledge, that's of course. But without it, the human being becomes a slave to the Yetzer Hara. The only thing, there's no substitute. Because if you go to the pharmacist and say, well, listen, Torah is too difficult, is there a generic? Is there another medicine? There's no generic in this case over here. The only solution is Torah. And therefore, Har Sinai is called Har Chorev, because the Yetzer Hara is going to appear as a mountain. It is this Har, the Yetzer Hara, that is destroyed by the events that took place at that venue. Har Chorev, the destruction of the Har, the destruction of the Yetzer Hara that's Domer Lahar. And therefore, we have a very, very, very great responsibility. At the time of Shavuot, it's the time to pull ourselves away from what we have here in America. The Yetzer Hara loves it because it knows it's going to promote only anti-Torah values. And ultimately, it'll take us away from our nitzchiyut, from our eternity. The preparation before Shavuot is Yitziat Mitzrayim, to release that toxicity of Mitzrayim that's inside of us. And then when the bride comes to Matan Torah, the bride will be prepared, the Hatan will be ready. But Chas v'shalom, if a person does not accept upon himself this purity and the commitment to study, Rabotai, it's not enough only to respect the Torah from far. For the Yetzer Hara to be destroyed, it's the mashal of a person that went to the pharmacist and he said, I need a medicine for this disease. They said, you're in luck, there's a medicine. They said, here's the medicine and here's the instructions. You should be better in 10 days. And after 10 days, he wasn't better. He went back to the pharmacist and it didn't work. He says, well, what do you mean, did you take it? He said, what do you mean take it? I read the prescription for 10 days. So you fool. Reading the prescription is not going to help you. You have to take the medicine. And the same thing, just to speak and talk about Torah, you have to open a book. You have to learn it. It's not enough just to have good attitudes towards the Torah and good feelings to the Torah. The book has to be opened, has to be studied, has to be learned. And Emet is doing that. The people that are donating to Emet, I don't think they realize what was given to them. Because if they knew what was given to them, they'd probably quadruple or tenfold their donation. I'll tell you why. You're donating the money because you say, oh, the rabbi came and he gave me some time of his and he taught me, and therefore I want to give them a few $1,000s. But don't you realize they gave you eternity? They gave you not life for the next 100 years. They gave you life for the next forever. How do you pay for that? How do you pay for a lesson that lasts forever, for le'ol me'ad? They gave you the remedy and they gave you the vaccine that can cure the most deadly virus. The virus that nobody talks about. The virus called Yetzer Hara. And that is Har Chorev. The only thing that can destroy the Har is the study of Torah, which is called Torah Tevalim. And therefore, I pray that all our members here of Emet will, number one, study. Don't leave the book. Shavuot is a time to recommit yourself to more learning. I'm very happy to hear that during this pandemic, the registration to Emet students has doubled. That more students have now, through social media, are learning from their rabbis and their teachers. Who knows? Maybe that's the silver lining that came out of this pandemic. That maybe now, through what we're learning, we're able to maybe institute some of these new ways of learning, and we're able to develop it even after this is all over in order to keep more students in the fold. But in the meantime, I will conclude with something that I heard from Chacham Ovadia Yosef. Chacham Ovadia Yosef said that when they got to Har Sinai, it says they came from a place called Refidim. That was the place they were right before Matan Torah. Vayavo Refidim. So they said, what is this Refidim? Is it a real place? So some say, yeah, there's a name called Refidim. But the Midrash says, no, they came from Refidim. Shirafu Yedehem in Torah. It says, actually, they became weak. And after they became weak from Torah, I always understood it to mean they were lackadaisical. And the next pasuk says, "Vayavo Amalek." Amalek came and attacked them. Vayavo Mirfidim. They came to a place that they were rafu yedehem in Torah. So Chacham Ovadia asked the question: when a person is weak from Torah, which part of his body is weak? Your head is weak because you don't want to learn. Your eyes are weak because you don't want to look at the words. Your mouth is weak because you don't want to utter the words. But what does it mean that afu yedehem in Torah? How do the hands become weak from Torah? So Chacham Ovadia said, because it's the hand that writes the check. It's the hand that supports Torah. And therefore, just like your minds cannot be weak from Torah and your mouths cannot be weak, yedehem, your hands cannot be weak from Torah as well. The hand that's going to give the money also has to be strong. Im en kemach en Torah. Without the support, we don't have Torah. And therefore, we have to overcome that challenge to make sure that Emet is flush, that it has its funds, and then Be'ezrat Hashem will continue to serve us, not only Be'olam Hazeh, but in Olam Haba. And their job is Yetziat Mitzrayim, to remove the Mitzrayim, to remove the American culture from us by putting in its stead and replacing that vacuum with Torah values, with eternal values, and they are fulfilling in en anili. If I am not going to be for myself and prepare mili, what's going to happen on the 50th day? I pray, I bless you. Mazal tov. You should have a happy wedding with a Kadosh Baruch Hu on Shavuot. You should come to Har Sinai dressed in the proper ways, on the outside and the inside. And Be'ezrat Hashem, the Hatan will connect to us, like it says in the pasuk, "Ve'atem adevekim b'Adonai Elohechem, hayim kolechem hayom, amen ve'amen."